Hi all, very good evening to everyone. Uh, this is Venkatesh from Change to Test Automation, and today we are going to see about Jmeter. So, as you know, there are a lot of tools in the market. As you know, there are a lot of tools in the market today, like Selenium, Jmeter, SoapUI, Ready API. There are a lot of mobile testing applications as well. But Jmeter is a common one that everybody is looking for now in the industry, IT industry. And today we'll be seeing a demo on the JMeter and what are the pieces that we can test in JMeter, whether we can do a performance testing alone in JMeter. As so many of you know that JMeter is just a performance testing tool, but it also provides a functional testing as well. So we'll just see a short demo on the JMeter and how we can do a performance testing, functional testing in the JMeter today. So moving on. So JMeter was developed by Apache JMeter. So you can just Google it for Apache JMeter. You could go to the Apache JMeter site where you can download the JMeter and get a detailed document of the documentation of the JMeter tool. Unless like other application, other tools, JMeter have a very good documentation in the website. So whenever you need for any queries or clarification, you can go to the documentation and you can check that. So JMeter can be used as a load testing tool basically, and you can measure the performance of variety of services, web services, which is related with your project that can be done in the JMeter. Also, we can do functional testing as well in JMeter for web applications. Basically, applications with client server model can be tested in JMeter. Not only the functional testing, we can do performance testing or any components testing, integration testing. Everything can be done in JMeter. So this is nothing but how JMeter works. So as you see in real time, say for example, if you want to test for an user of 1,000 users, it is very hard to create all the 1,000 users manually or visually from the project side. But unless JMeter gives you a very good feel that you can create a virtual users. Okay. So what JMeter does is like JMeter gives a compatibility of you can create a virtual users. Say for example, if you want to create 1,000 users, JMeter will create 1,000 users, 1,000 virtual users, and it will go and hit the target server. Say for example, if your target server is say for example XXX, and you are telling that JMeter create 1,000 users, then JMeter will simulate 1,000 users, and it will go and hit the triple X server, XXX server. Then whatever the server responds, say for example that server is responding some error, some users it is responding some error, for some users it is providing some response, whatever the details that it is giving. So JMeter saves all the responses. From that response, JMeter start gathering the statistical data. Data is nothing but say for example, if you want to get the number of records which got passed, and get the number of users which got failed, and what is the minimum time 50% of the users were taking, and what is the maximum time that was taken to hit the server, like those kind of details can be taken from the JMeter. And think about a real time scenario. Say for example, if you are going to book a Tatkal ticket in IRCTC application, it is very hard that everyone tries to book, then server will crash. In that case, we need a performance testing for the particular tool. That's how JMeter comes into the place. So performance testing is nothing but it determines the speed, responsiveness, and ability and the stability of a network. Say for example, if you are going to use some applications, it has to respond quickly. Then only that user interaction will be better, and it has to provide some quick response to the user, and it has to be stable when number of users are using it. So all those details shall be validated using JMeter. And there are a number of features in JMeter and components where you don't have to learn coding itself. You just have to go through the JMeter components. That gives a good picture of how JMeter works, and and how you can integrate those components in your test script and use it in your test script day-to-day testing. And there are few metrics, that performance metrics that we have to validate, like throughput is nothing but how much of information that you are processing over a specific period of time. Say for example, if you're validating for 1,000 users, then what is the input data that you are giving and what is the output data that you're getting. So both has to be validated. And memory, say for example, if your application is taking too much of memory, even that has to be validated. Your computer RAM, ROM, everything has to be supported for your application, like that. Then bandwidth is nothing but volume of data per second that can move between workloads. If I'm booking an IRCT, if I'm booking Tatkal in IRCT application, I have to input some details, my date, age, from to everything. Those details has to be updated, and the same that ticket details has to come back again to me. So all those details has to be validated using bandwidth. And there are different types of load testing now. Sorry, performance testing, like giving a lot of details into just one data, then send and do a performance test, then stress testing, endurance testing, spike testing, volume testing, scalability testing, and everything. So these are different types of testing that you can try it in your Jmeter, but these testings has to be done before moving an application to the real world. Bug is something that in we can find it out in manual testing itself, but this usability, stability, responsiveness, everything that will be done in the performance testing only. That's why it is very important to have a performance testing before we move on to the application to production. And so I don't want to miss the other side of the issues as well. What are the performance problems that we come up? There might be a long load time. Say for example, if you're clicking on something and it is taking too much of time, then it is called as long load time. Then obviously user will feel bad that why I'm taking so much, why this application is taking so much of time. Then poor scalability. Poor scalability is nothing but, say for example, if there are 10 users, they are logging in and working, so application is working fine. Suddenly 25 users came in and they've started working, so suddenly the responsiveness of the application goes down. So that is called as poor scalability. And bottleneck issues nothing but your application is taking so much of data, your internal data, and it is degrading your overall system performance. Like CPU utilization, it is taking a lot of CPU utilization, memory, network, everything. Then that is called as bottleneck issues. Mainly we'll be sorting out those issues in Jmeter, and we had a listener called as Puffmon. So with that Puffmon, we can sort out all these issues and find out and what is the best value we can arrive. Those things we can see it in Jmeter easily. So I'll just quickly tell you what is how to install the Jmeter. So just nothing but type download Jmeter. So you will see the first site will be the Apache Jmeter. You could see that jmeter.apache.org. So Apache Jmeter was developed by Apache Jmeter, and they will be providing all the details like documentation, what are the examples and everything. That complete documentation is available in the Apache Jmeter. So you can just go there to the site and download the binaries file, zip file. So we have a current version of 5.4. You can download that file, and you just have to unzip the file. And when you unzip it, you just see this kind of folder with all the details: bin, docs, extras, library, licenses, and everything. So just go to bin and click on Apache Jmeter.jar. or you have an or if you have a batch file, if you want to run it through batch file, you can run it through batch file as well. So here is the jmeter.bat. So you can just click on the jmeter.bat and run this particular Jmeter. So either the way you can run the Jmeter. So I've already clicked, and so I've already clicked on that, and I see that this Jmeter screen opens up already. So here you could see that my test plan is there, and I can start preparing my own script, whatever I want. So before that, there are some Jmeter components that you must know before taking into the Jmeter. And this is nothing but like simple that you might have, however you your user, like you are using a Facebook application or a WhatsApp application. This is very simple. Say for example, if you want to give a call in WhatsApp, then you have to go to open the WhatsApp and go to calls. Like the similarly, we have different components here. If you want to add something, you have to if you want to do particular action, you have to add some component here. So I'll just go through with the components first. So the one best feature that is in the Jmeter will be record and playback. You can easily record the script and you can play back. This is not like that other recording tools that is available in the market. This is you can easily just it will be like just a 5 to 10 minutes of work. You can just do something and record it and then play back, and then whatever is getting passed or failed, you can easily note down in Jmeter. It will be like not more than 10 or 15 minutes of work. So Jmeter is providing that particular feature, and we have also other tools that we can integrate it in market. Say for example, that bad boy software, it's a software that is record and playback. You can record and then you can export that file into Jmeter. You can record the file and save the file. You can export it as JMX. JMX is nothing but the Jmeter version that is getting supported. What are the files that you are going to save, that are script files, that will be saved in the JMX file. And then next will be Blazemeter. It's a Chrome plugin. Blazemeter itself is a performance testing tool, but Blazemeter is providing a Chrome plugin. That Chrome plugin will be supported for record and playback. Again, that can be saved as a test script file in Jmeter and can be opened in Jmeter, and you can run the particular file in Jmeter to view the results. So again, this will not take much time, just 10 to 15 minutes of work. You can create a script easily, and by default, you can run the script with all the listeners and other things. Okay. So as I said, before moving on to the main topic, there are different components. So I want to go through that before start. So first there is a thread group. Thread group is nothing but, say for example, if you want to run for an user, then we can add a thread group. So thread group, it is a collection of users also, we used to say that. So we have one user, under that you can give multiple users. And we have 7 different components that is going to be the complete Jmeter. It will be sampler, controllers, config elements, assertions, listeners, timers, and processes. So first will be thread group. So thread group is nothing but representing the users. You can have one or more thread groups in a test plan. Even you can have multiple thread groups in a test plan. As a test plan is nothing but that test area that we are going to work. And each thread group will execute completely independent from each other. Yes. It's nothing but you can have you don't have any dependency between the thread groups. If you want to link it, you can have it as well. Like you can have a common data file that you can integrate for all the thread groups, but it is always independent from each other. Also, thread group can create the number of users. Say for example, if you want to run for 1,000 users, yes, thread group can create it. And ramp up time, how long you wanted you run the particular script. Say for example, you have 1,000 users and you want to run the 1,000 users within 2 seconds, 2 seconds each. Then you can perform that particular function using thread group. And how many times you want to perform? You want to perform it for 5 times, 10 times, 15 times. So everything can be done in thread group. Then samplers. Samplers is nothing but it is a type of request that is going to send to the server. Sampler is going to going to play the main role, where whatever the request you are going to give, that is going to hit the server using sampler only. The sampler always generates one or more results for our verification. There are different types of sampler requests. It will be FTP request, HTTP request, Java request, SMPP request, JDBC request, SOAP, XML request, everything you might have known. So HTTP is the one that we mostly commonly use, HTTP or HTTPS for web pages. So JDBC is nothing but it is for database, for SQL database. Also, we can integrate other databases as well, like MongoDB and others. Controllers. Controllers is nothing but it's a very simple one. But what is the order of processing that you want to run the particular test? That order can be defined in the controllers. It's nothing but when to send a user request to the web server. Also, there are 2 types of controllers. One will be simple controller and other will be logic controller. Logic controller is nothing but it will give you whether you want to send it in random, you want to send it in a sequential order, everything. Simple controller is nothing but a container, and whatever you are putting into the container, that will run sequentially. And next will be configuration elements. Configuration elements are very simple. It enables us to declare variables, or it will be helpful for running your sampler. Say for example, CSV dataset config. CSV dataset config is nothing but you can give values in the Excel through CSV dataset config, and you can call that Excel for your sampler as an input request. For that, sampler will take the input from the CSV dataset config and hit the target server using the CSV dataset config. And HTTP request defaults, HTTP authorization manager. Authorization manager is nothing but if you want to authorize your particular website, then you can use HTTP authorization manager. Yes. So HTTP request defaults is nothing but say for example you have a website, and in my case I have website of C2TA, change to test automation website, and in my test script I'll be using that application for too many times, like 100 times. Instead of giving that request 100 times, giving it 100 times, I can just put that request in HTTP request defaults, and I can call that particular request every time, instead of putting it in every sampler. I can just call the particular request. The next will be assertions. So assertions will be it's nothing but validate your response of the request. Say for example, I'll be trying to do a performance test on my change to test automation application. Then what is the response I'm getting? So that kind of check I can do using my assertion. So then it will be different assertions. We have response assertion, size assertion. A response is nothing but what is the response that you're getting. So are you getting 200, 501? So those are different response codes. So that we can validate. Say for example, if you want to validate an API, and you want to test every time that when a developer runs a build, and you want to do a particular smoke test, so you can just update the API and check every time when it is giving 200 your test case is passed. When you are getting some other response codes, then your test case is failed. So you can create that and you can validate using the response assertion. And similarly we have duration assertion, how much time is it taking, and XML HTML assertions. Then listeners is nothing but verifying your results. So whatever that results you are getting, be it a response or any failure, what is the time it is taking, what is the response time it is giving, and what is your input request size, and what is your output request size, everything can be viewed in the tree format or a table format or in a graphical format or in a log file. There are different types of listeners actually. So it will be view results in tree, view results in table, aggregate report, summary report, and you can save your responses to your log file using save responses to your file. And if you want to validate your assertion results, then you can have assertion results listener. Then the other thing will be timers, and in real time we always have a delay while using the application. We always want to use we always want to do a performance test using the real time only. It's nothing but every time 1,000 users will go and hit the server, might be 10 users will hit the server, then 10 users will come back, 100 users will go and hit the server, and suddenly all the users will come down. So might be at on the very morning time, 2 to 4 a.m., all the users will not be using Facebook. But till 12 p.m. and from 7 a.m. to 9, from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m., there might be load will be very high. So we want to capture the performance test with the realistic time. For that, you can add a manual delay in your test and run your test, so that these real performance test will be achieved using timers. And there are different timers. The most common used timers will be constant timer and uniform random timer. Constant timer delays each request for a specific amount of time. Whatever the time that you are providing, that will be a common delay for all the requests. Uniform random timer, it will generate, Jmeter itself will generate a random timer. And next will be processes. Process is nothing but it will modify your samplers in the scope. You want to modify the sampler before the request or after the request, that will be done using the pre-processor or post-processor. Pre-processor is nothing but you want to make the changes of the sampler before running it. There is one thing called as bean shell scripting. So you can use the bean shell scripting and use this pre-processor to work on that. And post process is nothing but this will be executed some action after making a sampler request. Your sampler runs, after that you will get a response. From that your post processor will take an action. And so this was about the pre-post processes. So without much delay, I'll just show you a small demo about the application. So if you see here, I have my Jmeter open. So what I'll do, as I said, I'll add a thread group now. So thread is nothing but users. So I'll add a thread group now. And here you can specify the number of users. Number of threads is nothing but number of users. So I have one, and ramp up period is 1. Without any delay, without just 1 second, I'll be running this test. And loop count, I'm just running it for once. That's it. Then I'll add a sampler now. HTTP request. And here if you see, there are a lot of details. So if your protocol is HTTP, then you can leave it blank. If your protocol is HTTPS, then you have to provide it. Then what is your request? Get, put, post, whatever it is, you can mention it here. So mine is get. So what I'll do, I'll go to this change to test automation. So this is our website. So here I'll just take my website details. I'll do a small test on this website name. So this domain name shall be given here, and we can remove the HTTPS as we have already given. And if you have any path associated with your URL, then that can be specified here. Say for example, if you want to performance test it for c2ta.co.in course category automation testing, then these items shall be added here, testing, in the path. And if there are any resources or parameters that can be added in this box, you can just add a parameter here. In my case, I don't have any parameters, so I will not be adding it. But I have given my method as get request, and my protocol is HTTPS, so I have specified. If it is not HTTPS, then I will not be specifying it. Then I have given the server name or IP. Then I have given the path as well. Then to check the results, I will be adding a listener. I'll be adding a view results in tree listener. There are multiple listeners, but just for easy debug and everything, I'll be adding a view results in tree listener. Then next step will be I'll be saving my test. I'll click on save here. Yeah. So I'll click on save here. So I just want to save somewhere on my desktop. So I've saved it as demo. So by default, all the Jmeter your test scripts files can be saved in the .jmx file. So Jmeter supports this .jmx version extension. So all your test scripts shall be saved in the .jmx extension. So what I'll do, there is a green symbol here. So start. So I'll just start the test now. And yes, you could see that my test has been passed. Then see the request that is getting passed. Whatever I have given c2ta.co.in course category automation testing. So whatever I have given in the HTTP request in my sampler, so that is getting passed here. And I could see the response data here, which is my page source. So normally we are just trying it for a particular website. So we'll be getting the page source. In your case, it might be an API or you might be trying specifically for a JDBC request. JDBC is nothing but MySQL. In that case, you might be getting different results. Say, for example, if you are querying something in the JDBC, then you might be getting whatever the records that are available, and say on, or if you are hitting an API, and that API is going to give you some details like your personal details, name, your profession, and everything. Then it will be your results of your API that will be shown in the response data screen. So here you see a lot of details, whatever the some major parameters that will be verifying. So I'll be showing you all these details in a different listener as well. I'll again right click, add listener, and I'll add up view results in table listener. So I'll just clean all the results. You could see two brushes here. So I'll clear all the results here. Then I'll run it again. Yes, and you could see that there are start time, and what is the thread group that I'm using? Label sample time. Sample time is nothing but how much time it was taken. So it was always in milliseconds. So even it is less than a second. It took less than a second. And status is passed. And what is the bytes? Bytes is nothing but the amount of information. So always we measure the size in bytes. So it is 42016, and send bytes will be 148, and latency. So latency is nothing but time to first byte. So what was the time taken for the first byte from the server? Then connect time. What is the connect time to the server for this particular request? So to just show you other angle, I'll just fail this request. So for that, I'll do something. I've just added this double slash. No, it will not work. So I'll remove this. Then I'll just run this test. Yes, you could see that it is getting failed. And what is that? There is no send bytes, there is no latency byte because our test has been failed. And what is the sample time? It was just not even 1 second. So it is in milliseconds. So whatever the time has to be divided by 1000. And what is the start time? And what time it has taken? So I'll put it back then again, server name or IP. Then I'll clean up and everything. So to show you another dimension, the number of users, so I'll increase the number of users here. Then I'll just clean all the results and run the test again. And you could see that all the 10 details has been passed, and you could see just the result in a fraction of a second. All the everything has been started at 50 seconds, and it was started at 51, and all my runs were completed by 51 itself. 9:29, 51 seconds itself, all the runs has been completed. And you could see that there are different thread groups as well, thread numbers as well, 1 1 1 2 1 3. So 1 denotes the thread group, and number of users will be the second line, 1 2 3 4 5, all the 10 things. And to show you another example, what I'll be doing, I'll just increase the ramp up period. So ramp up period is nothing but it is going to add some delay. Say for example, I have 10 users and my ramp up period is 10. So in that case, every user will go and hit second between 1 second. The first user will go and hit the in the first second, and second user will go in the second second. So it's nothing but a delay that you are creating it. And if I say, for example, if I change it to 20, then it will be every 2 seconds, one user will go and hit the server. And if I change it to 30, then every 3 seconds, one user will go and hit the server. And what I'll do, so I'll just give it as 10 now, and I'll run the test now. So you could see that it has started at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, then 21. So it has started at 9:31, 12 seconds, then 13 seconds. Every one user is hitting the is just going and hitting the server. So you could see the difference directly in the start time. So this is how Jmeter works. So whatever you want, that can be done in the Jmeter. Whatever the performance realistic performance that you are expecting, that can be done in the Jmeter. And as I said, I want to do some assertion in my response, whatever the response I'm getting. And if you just check here, what is my response code? It is just 200. So I want to validate it. Might be when my developer build just do some deployment, I want to run a performance test quick. I want to run a smoke test quickly using Jmeter. It is very simple here. What I'll do, I'll just add up an assertion here. Add assertions, response assertion. So I have added a response assertion here. So I'll be just validating my response code. So if you see here, my response code is 200. And if I want to validate my response code, so what I have to do, I have to give my validation. Then only I can make sure that my test is getting passed. In that case, I'll be giving that equals condition. There are different conditions. So here I'll be giving the equals. I'll add what patterns to test. So I'll say that whenever it is 200, then pass me test result, or I'll just fail it. What I'll just clear up everything. Then I'll run the test. So my test is getting passed, so I don't see any errors. So what I'll do, just for to show you very quickly, I'll just change it to one user, so it will not take much time. Clean up and everything first, then I'll show you some failure result. Instead of that, I'll be giving 500. I'll run the test. Yes, you could see that the test is getting failed, and you are seeing that particular response is throwing all the details, whatever the request it is going, what the response data it is coming, everything it is showing up. And just when you open up in the inside the response session, and we were expecting to be 500, but we are getting only two. We are expecting to 500, but we are getting 200 from the response. So this is how it is getting failed. You can also validate using this in a different listener. There is one listener, assertion results listener. Whenever you add an assertion, you can add this particular listener. So I'll just run it for your sake again now. Yes, and you could see the same results, same details, whatever you have seen in the view results tree, and the same will be shown up here. Just for your better understanding, for debugging purpose, this will be very helpful. So now I'll go and change it to 200 so that my test will get passed. Then for a better visualization, I'll not clean this particular item. So I'll rerun it again. Yes, now it is getting passed. That's why you're not getting anything. If it is getting failed, then you'll get this kind of response. Then moving on to that, I have a better item to show you, which is record and playback in Jmeter. So I'll save this test and create a fresh test. So I have my brand new Jmeter now. So this what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add a recording controller. Add. Then go to controllers. So first I'll add a thread book. Then I'll add a thread, right click, add logic controller. Then I'll add a recording controller. This is nothing but I'm going to record something here. Then I'll go to test plan again. From non-test elements, I can add HTTP test script recorder so that it will start running my test. So what I'll do, instead of that, I'll remove this everything. Jmeter is providing an option that you don't have to add these elements separately. I have a template, you can add it from my template itself. Or else you can create your own templates as well. So I'll remove these items. So I've removed it. So what I'll do, there is a green icon below edit menu bar. That is nothing but templates. So Jmeter have as its own template. Say for example, if you want to build an web test plan, so Jmeter has its own template. They have a documentation as well. On click of this documentation, you'll be taking them to the Apache Jmeter site. There has been excellent documentation that can be viewed in the Jmeter itself. And if you want, you can create your own templates as well. Say for example, if you're running some tests daily on your own, instead of creating the test every day, you can just use the template. If your project is very similar and you have multiple APIs to run, instead of that adding the components every time, you can create your own templates and use it here. So there is one template called recording. So I'll click on it and I'll click on create. So there are some unsaved items. I said yes. Yes, and here you could see that we have an user defined variable component. Sorry, any questions? Okay, so here you could see that HTTP request defaults, whatever we have seen before, everything is getting added here. And there is HTTPS test script disabled, so I'll enable it. And I can click on start here. And you could see that there is some certificate getting generated in your bin. This shows that there is some certificate getting generated in the bin. Go and check that. So what we will do,
No.
you can yeah. So here you could see that there is a certificate getting generated here. So whenever you do this record and playback, certificate has to be installed in your browser. Say for example, you're doing it in Chrome browser or in Safari browser, any browser, you have to install that certificate and change the proxy settings. So I'll just go through the procedure quickly. So this certificate will be valid for 7 days. Say for example, if I'm creating today 5, then this will be valid for till 11. And after that 11, whenever you do record and playback, then you have to install the certificate again. So for that, go to Chrome, then click on settings. So go to settings and search for certificates. And you go to manage certificates. So this you might have done in the, if you want to install any application, some few of your in your project might be you have to do it. If you're doing VPN, if you're adding a VPN connection, might be you have to install the certificates to add VPN to your network. So go to this trusted root certificate. Then in my case, I've already imported, but if you see here, just go to import, then click on next, then browse your certificate. So it is nothing but your Jmeter certificate. Okay. Open it, then click on next, your certificate will be installed, imported. So here it will be my certificate. If you see here, my expiration date is 12/12. After that, this certificate will not be valid. So every 7 days, you have to install the certificate again and again. This is just a 1 minute of work. Then you have to change the proxy of your network. So for that, go to proxy settings. I'll just stop this for a time being. Go to proxy settings. Yes, go to connections, LAN settings, and use this. Just check this box and go to advanced. And you have to update your proxy address and the port number. And whatever the port you are specifying here, you have to give the same port. You have to give the same port in your Jmeter so that both Jmeter and browser will talk each other. Then same will be updated in the Jmeter, recorded in the Jmeter. So this is nothing but IP config of my system. in your project or in your office location, this IP might differ. This might be a default IP, static IP. Just you have to change the port number and you have to use it. So just to talk Jmeter and browser, we are just updating the port here. So here I have updated as 8888. So click on OK, then OK, OK, and I'll go here, and if you see here, my port number is 8888. So I'll click on start now. So I'll start recording the session. So what I'll do, I'll go to this c2ta.co.in, my office application. Yes, you could see that it is getting launched. Yes. Then what I'll do, I'll go to my Jmeter. Yes. And if you see here under recording controller, I have a lot of items that even your mouse over will be recorded. So for that, you just have to remove those things. And if you see here, there are a lot of other things as well. So I can just simply remove all these items because I have clicked a lot of items before. And if you see here, it is nothing but that c2ta.co.in. It has been recorded automatically. So I'll just stop this. I'll remove other items. As I don't need all these things for my test. Then if you see here, I have a transaction controller, and under that I have a sampler request that it is getting redirected, that change to test automation. Then under that I have a header manager. Header manager is nothing but that will provide some details to help sampler to run. And what I'll do, as I've already taken templates, so I could see this view results here as well. So next is my running. So I'll just quickly run my test. Yes, it is getting passed. Yeah, you could see that c2ta.co.in is going through the request, and we could see the page response as well. So I've just shown a single page for demo, but in real time, you can record any number of pages, and you can add whatever you want, listeners, sessions, every time, everything, whatever you want on your own to your test, and you can close your test with all those details, with all the components that we have discussed. So this will be the one option. So what I'll do, I'll open my prior test demo.jmx, whatever I've created. So I'll not save the test. So the one common question that everyone comes will be, how can I run a particular test for several times with the different data? Say for example, if you want to run for 1,000 users, where all the 1,000 users have 1,000 data, in that case, what you can do, you can add a CSV dataset config, add config element CSV dataset config. Yes, CSV dataset config, and you can browse the file name. Just for a change, you cannot browse a file, you cannot browse any Excel or log file. You have to add a CSV file only in Jmeter. Uh, I've already created a CSV file extension, and I've saved some data here. If you see here, I've created a CSV file data1.csv in CSV extension. And And I have saved some URL details as well, like CTU, whatever my application URL, that course tools, mobile automation, whatever it is there, I have saved some details. So I'll go back to Jmeter. So here a different concept comes in. It is nothing but variables. So I have to call these values using variables only from Excel. For that, what I have to do, variables is nothing but it is a container to store the values. So in JMeter, there is a format for variables, calling the variables. Dollar, open braces, variable name, then close braces. So what I'll do, here just I have to change the JMeter variable name that I've created. What I'll do, I'll just update the URL here. So URL, then I have to give this variable in the path. So what I'll do then, I have 3 users. If you see here, I have 3 details, 3 different URLs. So I'll be running the test for all the 3 different URLs now. So what I have to do, the next step will be I have to import this file in Jmeter. For that, browse. Then there is something called as data1.csv. Open it. Then by default, all these details will be added here. And you have any quoted data, you can give it as true. I don't have it any, but still I'll give it as true. There is no harm in that. I'll go back to this HTTP request. Then I've given the URL. Then what I'll do, I'll just change the number of users to 3 because I have 3 users which I have already updated in the my CSV file. So I'll run the test. So test has started running. Okay. Just for the sake of understanding, I'll let you compare the details. If you see here, it is going to c2ta.co.in and the same here. Then c2ta.co.in course tools. So this is the course tools that is going. Then category mobile automation. And you could see that this category mobile automation is also done. So whatever the page response, we'll be getting the page response in your response data. So this is how you can run for multiple users as well. Also in Jmeter, you can call functions as well like this. Okay. Then there is going to be one concept which is very important. How you can do your performance test very a real-time performance test. For that, you can add a timer. So for that, in my case, what I'll do, I'll add a timer, constant timer. Namita, Namita, can you please go on mute? Thanks, Namita. Yeah. So here in my case, I have added a constant timer. So what I'll give, I'll just add a delay of 4 seconds, which will be by 4000. So it is in milliseconds. So we have to provide a value in 4000. In real time, there might be a lot of delays in your performance test. Say for example, not everybody will go and use a Facebook application simultaneously. There might be somebody will be using in the morning, whenever they are free, they'll be using that application. So WhatsApp then and there they'll be using. For that, we can use the timers. So I've given 4000. Then what I'll do, I'll just clean all the tests and I'll rerun it again. Go to my view results tree, and you could see that after 4 seconds delay, all the tests are getting run. So like this, you can have a uniform random timer as well. So uniform random timer is nothing but a different time delay. It will just run a test. So this was a short demo on the Jmeter. There are a lot of items to explain, but not just 1 hour will be completed. Will be enough to explain all these things. So just before closing out, I want to share something with you all. So this is our company website that you can go through our company website and what are the services that we are offering. We are offering all the trainings and projects related support for all the tools. Selenium, SOAP API, REST API, JMeter APM, and various other tools as well that was not mentioned here. So you can, if you have any questions or if you need a corporate training or project support or any other trainings, classroom trainings, any other things, that you can reach out to us. And you can go through our website that has a lot of information as well, not just that you are looking for some trainings. You just don't have to call us. There are a lot of other materials as well. You can just use the website for your learning. And if you have any query, you can reach out to us. Before closing off, any queries, whatever we have discussed in the last 1 hour?
Okay, thank you, Venkatesh. Right, thanks for your time. Right, so thank
Yeah.
you for your time. Uh, we'll see, guys. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you.
Okay,
I'll
bye.
stop sharing.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing your time. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Venkatesh.
Okay,
Thanks, guys. Bye.
okay, thank you, guys. We'll see. Bye. We'll try to improve. We'll see what to do next. Okay.